I know this isn't quite what you were expecting. I know, but I need a little more time with King of Cards, Mac, that's all. I know, the people love it. They love the game. They're like, man, King of Cards, more like King of Hearts, because he has all of ours, and I get it. But the final boss in challenge mode can go fuck. I've put a couple hours into this motherfucker. He can go fuck himself. And I need more time to finish the video. So instead, I'm going to shuffle my schedule around, and you're going to get my vinyl and comic book collection update today. I'm also going to be adding a couple of albums at the end with this fit. We got a couple of fit changes in this video. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hello, world of YouTube. Welcome to another episode of Comic Hall. But it's also an episode of my vinyl collection update. Yeah. We got a lot to add. It's a lot going on in this video. We got from the holidays to now on albums and comics going in order. You guys know how collection updates go. Talk a bit about the thing, why I got it, all that sort of stuff. Starting with albums over the holidays. Rachel added to the MF Doom collection of Nothing with Food. Classic album. Love the way the art looks in the gatefold. Looks really clean. Love it. It's like an olive green pressing. It's actually really, really nice. I think it looks really cool. Got some of my favorite rap jams on here. I mean, obviously, I've talked about One Beer a lot on the channel. You guys know I love how that song is made. I love the food suite. I love the food writing, the allegorical writing, Deep Fried Friends. It's a classic, you know. Rap Snitches, another classic. It's just an incredible rap album. Is it my favorite Doom album? It's one of them. I'm happy to have it in the collection. It's incredible. And I didn't have any Doom. If I was going to get one Doom album to have physically, if I could find one, I'm glad it's Food. You know? It's a good time. Also, took advantage of a Bandcamp Friday and bought Melt My Eyes, the tour pressing edition. The pressing is on like a blue swirl looking vinyl. It looks really clean. It's like a smoky looking pressing. All of my Denzel, well, not all of them. The Taboo pressing I have is also wild. The Imperial one I have is just normal. But it's like a blue swirly looking. You guys know this is my album of the year. Had my song of the year on it. I love this album. And while I had something else for my top 5, I did not have the GOAT from last year, so I had to get him. You guys know I love Denzel. I'm happy to have. The art looks clean. I like the art direction of this album. I like the packaging on this in general is great. There's like this cool looking embossing. I love that they kept this like sleeve that has all the information to keep the art like by itself. It's such a good pressing. One I haven't opened yet, but I bought something off of Discogs. For those who know why I don't shop on Discogs. But I finally gave him another shot. I actually bought from a local user. And got Francis, one of my favorite albums of all time. One of my favorite prog albums of all time, / any album. Such a good album. I love the way this looks. I haven't opened it yet. It came in the mail, and I was like, oh, hell yeah. I'm excited to have this. I love this album very much. I have Bedlam and Goliath, and I was like, well, I have Bedlam. I need to get Francis at some point, because, you know, it's my favorite album by them. I think that it's incredible. You know, it was my entry point via The Widow, but Elvia, you guys know, song rips. The Cassandra Gemini suite is incredible. Yeah, I'm excited to spend that. I haven't spun it yet, obviously. I'm very excited to. It's going to be a great day when I do. Then I went to a couple local stores because I wanted to see if I could find some Wu-Tang stuff for Wu Brewery, you know? I didn't find any, but I did buy a decent amount of things. I went to one of the exchanges in Indy. I bought another one of my top 5 of last year, Once Twice Melody. I own my number 5 album, my number 4 album, yeah, and my number 1. I just need my number 2 and number 3. But I got Once Twice Melody. I love this album. Again, very excited to spin it. I don't have any Beach House. When I bought this, I was like, this is my first Beach House album, my own physically. Great, now I need to get Bloom. I need to rectify my mistakes and buy Bloom. And 7, if I could find it. I love Once Twice Melody. I did a whole stream reacting to it. My opinion on this album has been pretty well established, both initial and everlasting, obviously. It's a good album. Fresh in my mind and how good it is. I was spinning it the other day. Fucking rips. I also bought... They had a handful of rap albums I wanted, but then I saw they had We Got It From Here, Thank You For Your Service, the last Tribe album. Haven't spun it yet, but I'm so happy to have this. I almost bought Low End Theory, because they had both, and I've been looking for both. But I rarely see this, and I really want this album. I love this album. It is an album I spun a lot when it came out. It is an album that still sticks around with me. I mean, the stretch from the space program, the whole side A and B on this is just incredible. You know, and the second half is also just fucking insane. It's got a loving tribute to Phife Dawg. You know, it has Phife Dawg on here. It's a really good album. As a fan of this group, I love this record. It's so good. It's got a great Andre 3000 feature. It's got a great Kendrick feature. Now, on my last Bastion search for getting Wu-Tang Solo stuff, at least until I convince myself otherwise, maybe, I went to another local place, Final Rescue Project, just to one last search at another local spot that sometimes gets some wild oddities. Case in point, what I found instead in the form of Solange's A Seat at the Table. I fucking love this album. Solange's A Seat at the Table I already own When I Get Home, which I actually like that album more than this one, but A Seat at the Table is incredible. It's still got Mad with Lil Wayne. It's got Cranes in the Sky. That one's incredible. I threw one of the songs on here on my updated Thanksgiving playlist, because I made one of those back in like 2016, and I finally updated it last year. I put the Self-Care track with Q-Tip on there. That track is good. This album rips, and I'm probably gonna spin this, and when I get home sometime soon, just to experience the duology together, because I love these two records, and I think that they just work. Like, that does a lot of really good shit, and I'm excited to hear it in my setup. And then I bought a Foo Fighters album with Solange's A Seat at the Table, and not the one you may be expecting, because I didn't buy like my favorite album, which I've seen a couple times and just passed up. I didn't buy what I would probably also own on vinyl, their third album, There's Nothing Left to Lose. No, I bought their debut, because it was there, and I was like, actually, sure, I'll own the Foo Fighters debut. I like this record a lot. I did a Redacted on it last year, but outside of the Redacted, I think this album is still really good. This is one that I don't think really necessarily needed it, but I could find a way to do it, so it was fun to do. Because, like, This Is a Call is really good. Big Me, I talked about that in the video. Big Me is, like, one of the best pop songs of the 90s. Like, that song is incredible, and it's on this. Weenie Weenie's Good for All the Cows, obviously. Watershed is, like, one of the best ragers Dave has ever written. This is all Dave. That's also fun. I really like this record. I think that, like, having this as, like, a rock album on vinyl isn't a bad get. Plus, it probably sounds good as well, given just how it was made from, like, tapes and shit. It probably sounds cool. I don't know. I'm excited to have it. It's another one of those, like, oh yeah, I like this rock album, I'm gonna buy it, snags. But go back to the outro, or go back to the comic transition. I don't know, whatever happens next in the footage. I then ended where I'll be ending my vinyl collection portion of this video with Karma Records on the east side. I went there, again, looking for Wu stuff. Did not find any, but I did find some classics. Stuff that I should have added ages ago and never did, like The Money Store. Obviously, this album is incredible, and I do own Year of the Snitch, but I never bought this album, and I felt like that was wrong. So, I did. You guys know it's great. It's one of the most lauded albums of the 2010s, but I love the sonic palette. I get nostalgic for it. It's got classics, obviously some of the best stuff on there. Incredible stuff. Happy to have it in my collection. I also found an on-site album that I thought I would never see. I got Fan Dam. I planned on spinning this tomorrow, actually, because I think that it would be a good album to listen to. As of filming this forever ago. I love this album, one of my favorite albums of all time, one of the best rap albums ever made. Really changed hip-hop for me personally. I love this album. I mean, I love LP in general. He's easily my favorite producer in hip-hop, if not Nujabes. But like LP's production style is just incredible. This album has some really cool shit on it sonically, and LP is also one of the best rappers of all time. So like, it's a winning combination. I plan on doing a classic breakdown on this probably this year, maybe. This album's great. I'm excited to start listening to it on these speakers. Also bought another discography filler of one of my favorite bands, the Gorillaz. I own a handful of their records. I love this album. I think it's a really strong debut. You know, 5'4", Clint Eastwood's my gateway. I got into them through that. 1999, 2000. The original I like. I will admit I like the Soul Child remix more. But I like this album. I think it's got some really cool stuff. I love that Del the Funky Homo Sapien, which was also my introduction to a rapper that I really love, was through this. Miho Hattori's on here. It's just got a lot of creative minds that I enjoy making some cool stuff together. And, yeah. I mean, you guys know I love the Gorillaz. I think their debut is actually kind of slept on, to be honest. I think it's incredible. Like, yeah, I love Demon Days and Plastic Beach and all that, yeah. Their debut is also really good. I think it's got some classics. And then, to bookend, we're ending on Doom. I didn't have any Doom, so I added another Doom. I added Operation Doomsday, because this is some of the most nostalgic beats I could think of to add to my collection if I were doing, like, physical releases. You know? Rhymes Like Dimes. Fucking Gas Draws. Incredible. Eyez beat is, like, iconic to me. The Scooby-Doo sample on there is so fucking good. Yeah, I love Operation Doomsday. I'll get Mad Villainy someday. But for now, I added some of his earlier work. That's what I added to the vinyl collection. Now for the comic book fans, you guys are in for a treat. I've done a lot of comic book shopping lately. I'm wanting to read more this year, just in general. So my mom got me Maximum Carnage, a story I've been collecting the individual issues of, but is an expensive story to buy the individuals of. And I'm so glad I got this, because I'd love to read this story and talk about it, especially since I'll be talking about something else that is vastly differently received at some point in this video and in the future. But, yeah. Iconic Spider-Man story that I've never read, have been collecting, and I'm excited to read, finally. Did a couple of runs at a local store, Comic Book University. On my first trip, I rounded out some of the current Gambit run that's been going on that they had. They had 3 and 5, so I bought those, added them to the collection. I also added this Tomb of Dracula comic that I mean, you know, I like vampires. I like vampire media. I do Halloween comic book videos every single year. They've always got Dracula somehow thrown in there. Why not keep that train rolling by doing the Tomb of Dracula? Dracula Lives, Night of the Vampire. I may do something else, but I did want to buy this to read it because it seemed goofy, but also like in the best way possible. Like, look at that art. That's just beautiful. I love the way this looks, and I'm excited to read it, you know? I also bought a couple of an issue story that I may look around for. The Green Lantern Planet of the Apes crossover. It was like a 6-issue run that I'd seen for years and just never bought, but has always sat in the back of my mind that someday the curiosity will win, and I will buy this story, and that time is now. And I'm kicking myself because it's actually kind of hard to find. But hey, I've got a couple issues, so that's cool. I've got the first 2 issues. That's cool. I can at least start reading it. Also went to a local Doctor Who store, because I like Doctor Who. I've talked about that recently. There's a local Doctor Who store in Indiana, so I went there. I bought a couple of other things, but I did buy a couple comics. That is not it at all. I also bought a couple... That is another one of the Gambits. I was looking for this when I was initially shuffling through. I also bought issue 2, because it didn't have that either. But I also went to a Doctor Who store and bought a couple of Matt Smith's 11th Doctor stories that go together. These two are a story. I want to read it, see how it strikes me, and if it's too short, I'll buy a couple and I'll do them together. But, yeah. I bought the Tragical History Tour. Sounds like a Beatles reference. That'll be fun. Yeah, I'm excited to read that. Went back to my local store. Went back to one of my local stores, Comic Book University, and I did another little haul of possibly some dupes. Who knows? I bought 3 Marvel stories that were tied together under the name Judgment Day, because that sounds wild as hell. Iron Fist, who you guys know I've been trying to collect for a while. X-Men, who you guys know I like bits of the world of a lot. And the Eternals, one of the Phase 4 properties I had moderate interest in from a comic book perspective, actually more so than a movie. I like that they were introducing this concept into the MCU. So I do have mild interest in what they do, and I'm curious to see them work with these characters of all people. I also got a couple other Iron Fist stories that I may already have, but may not have. They're part of a arc I've been loosely getting for years of Damnation, which is Doctor Strange, Ghost Rider, Ben Reilly, the Scarlet Spider, and Iron Fist, a hodgepodge of characters I have varying degrees of intensity of interest in. Why not get more of Iron Fist stuff on the off chance I don't have it? Oh, there's another one. I bought 3. And then I also saw this, which looked like Batman, 90s Batman-ass comic. Rest in peace, Kevin Conroy. It looks like it's drawn in the style of the show. It looks like it's a comic book like that. That sounds way up my alley. So I got the first issue, because they had it and they had nothing else of the story. But I'm curious to see what this is, see what it's got going on. If I like it and they make more, I may buy more. I love the way the 90s show looked. I'm a big fan of that show. So I'm excited to see how it looks in a comic book. And then last but not least, I did a My Comic Shop purchase spree. I bought a handful of Spider-Man stories of varying degrees of length, starring or featuring Ben Reilly, the Scarlet Spider, for March arc that I'm doing involving the character. I've got the Maximum Clonage arc that I didn't own because I knew it wasn't the most well received, but I wanted to see just how bad it was. And then I also bought 2 issues of an arc featuring that character that I just happened to have picked up in the wild and rounded out, called Exiled. I think Venom's a part of it. It looks like the Vulture is as well. I'm curious to see what this story's about. Maybe I'll talk about them both. Who knows? A good and a bad of a character that has, different fans within the fandom. And then I bought another Gambit number 4, which I think I didn't get at My Comic University. If I bought a dupe, whoops, I've got a collection now. My dupes collection, my dudes. And that was my collection update. Did you like it? Did you not? Let me know in the comments down below. If you'd like to give it a like. If you want to see more, consider subscribing. I drop 4 vids a week. I stream 2 to 3 times a week. My links to everything are down below. Thank you for watching. I've been Viral Rack. You guys have good days, lives, and situations, and I'll see you another day.